And now, it's time for Sweet Talking Dan with comic reviews. Yeah, sweet. Okay.
Hey, don't look at me. We're all responsible for this. Hey, comic book man.
Hey kids, how you doing? Comic Book Man here. Welcome to my Video Outhouse. As always, Video Outhouse is coming to you from Alternate Reality, located at 111th and Kedzie in beautiful downtown Mount Greenwood.
Everybody?
Yeah! The only neighborhood in the city of Chicago with a two-drink minimum. And of course, it's Sweet Talking with Dan Sweet, and Sweet Dan Sweet is here to talk about, what are we talking about today?
Deathlok.
Deathlok.
The Demolisher.
The Demolisher?
In case you were wondering what his profession is.
He's not a destroyer?
It's not this week.
Aw, man.
I can't get a date.
So tell me all about Deathlok, the whatever the hell, Demolisher.
Deathlok the Demolisher.
Is it good?
Well, it is. It is what it is. It's an interesting beginning to a story. Charlie Huston started writing it. He dropped Moon Knight, started writing Deathlok.
Okay.
Deathlok doesn't even show up in the first issue, man.
Well, what the hell is he on the cover for then?
Well, because they gotta put somebody on there,
Oh.
and I was busy that week.
Yeah. Okay.
But really seriously, it's about the Roxxon Corporation, and basically they hold this big contest where through the UN sanctioned death tournaments, countries can settle disputes.
Comic book man's heady. 2 minutes.
Yes.
1 man lead.
Oh, please tell me more.
Well, that's about it.
And that's about it.
There's a guy who's really good at killing people, and there's a guy above him who really thinks you should follow the book and
So this
toe
is
the
this is a
line.
game show.
It kinda is. They televise it. The whole book is narrated by announcers.
Okay.
So I guess it is a little bit kind of more like a sporting event than a game show.
Have you ever seen the movie The Running Man?
Yeah.
Is it like that?
A little bit.
Is
more,
Richard Dawson in it?
It's more like team sort of combat.
Yeah.
You got to forgive me. It's a little weird sitting down, man.
That's okay.
I'm used to. I like it.
Okay.
Tim hurt his hip.
No, but Comic Book Man is fine.
Comics are dangerous business.
Heavy. You know what? I think it shows promise. Lan Medina is the artist, and his art is phenomenal, man.
Okay.
It's this really wonderfully colored style. I really liked it. He brings a lot of the chaotic environment of the battlefield to life. You could kind of tell who's going to end up Deathlok and who's not. Then again, it's the end of the first issue and almost everybody dies, so it could be a crapshoot.
So is Deathlok a title they're all like fighting towards?
No,
or is it the guy's name?
Never even mentioned him in the book.
Never mentioned him.
Never said one word about Deathlok. I don't even think there were any D words in the whole book.
This guy here doesn't show up until like the very end though.
Not even in the very end.
Not even at the very end.
It's a 7-issue series. They gotta do something for the first
No,
3 issues.
issue 4 or 5. They'll wheel him in issue 4 or 5.
He'll show up sooner or later, make a sandwich.
You know, I'll tell you, I read Deathlok when it first came out in Astonishing Tales. I think it was 26 back in 75 or 76.
Wow.
And the thing gave me a headache. And it was a bi-monthly book. It did like 7 or 8 or 9 issues, which meant it took almost 2 years to get that far into the series. It was not worth the journey. Every time they've done Deathlok, the problem you've got with Deathlok is it's an interesting concept. You've got a guy who's got a computer stuck in his head, and he's always fighting against the computer, and the computer's always telling him what to do, and he's always fighting against the computer. And then where do you go from there? They've never had a purpose for him to exist. It's always some half-assed dystopian future which doesn't exist, which does exist, which may exist. You know, occasionally they've taken Deathlok out of the future and put him into the present, where he sort of kind of works as a superhero. But you know, the whole Deathlok thing and the Roxxon thing, Roxxon Oil. Roxxon Oil, that is a throwback to the 70s liberal comics of writers like Len Wein and Marv Wolfman, who were trying to make a political statement about Exxon Oil, which is where Roxxon comes from. And it was this whole liberal corporate, you know, bad corporations are going to take over the future and all this crap, which is a fine concept if you can do it so it doesn't suck. And they've never done it so that it doesn't suck. So it's just it's headache-inducing.
But it is Charlie Huston who took Moon Knight, a character who's arguably just as equally a crap pile as far as history and convoluted history.
Well, he's Batman.
Well, he's Batman with multiple personalities. You know what I mean? So what he did is he's trying to take something...
And his butler's named Frenchie. Not Alfred.
He's trying to take a concept that's kind of dated, the robotic, half-dead guy who fights against the dystopian corporate future. And he's trying to put some relevance there. It does seem like it's set in the current current times.
Okay.
My thing is the labeling of it Marvel Knights, which has always been very grounded in street crime and New York City and stuff like that as far as Marvel's concerned. I'm not sure where this fits in. I would almost see it more as a Marvel Max title, but I'm sure they don't. They want to spread the appeal out there a little bit more. So, like I said, 1 of 7. It could go any number of directions because Deathlok hasn't even demolished anything yet. So
6 more issues. 6 more.
There's
issues.
a lot of demolishing to come, apparently. So I don't know. I don't know where this fits into the greater Marvel universe. You know what I mean?
The Marvel Knights thing, something that actually meant something once upon a time, which doesn't mean anything anymore as far as Marvel goes. I don't even know why they bother slapping it on there, except I think they want to keep the copyright on the name Marvel Knights. Otherwise, it really doesn't mean anything.
But that's what, and maybe that's why they just slapped that on there instead of making it a Marvel Max title or just a regular 616 book. They had to put it somewhere, and they classified it as that, which I found a little confusing. But you know what? Honestly, I'm going to give the book a shot. Okay. I think the art is good enough. Charlie Huston is an interesting crime writer, so I'm kind of curious as to see how he handles the sci-fi action genre, but we'll see what happens. Pick it up.
At least buy it till Deathlok shows up.
Yeah.
So, stop off at the store and pick up a copy of Deathlok and go to the store's website, www.myalternaterelay.com. Read his review, okay, and you'll also see this review, okay, at the store's website.
Down.
Until next time, this is Comic Book Man with
Sweet Dan sitting back,
saying bye!
Step by the reality store. Get a reality check. We all know you could use it.